Welcome to the podcast, Oshikha. I'm so happy to have you on.
Thank you so much. It was meant to be, is all I can just say and start with. Yeah. Yeah.
So, both of us just met for the first time, and we both had an instant recognition, almost like sisters. It's unusual that it happens, but sometimes it does, where you just feel like you're speaking to a relative. So, it's so cool to have you here. And I'm so curious. I want to hear all about your path. I know that you recently moved to Europe. I want to know all about your path, really, and what got you into this incredible work that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me here. Firstly, I would like to start with and just setting the intention that whoever needs to hear and get the right wisdom lands on this. What got me here, maybe I would say lifetimes of work, and maybe this lifetime was a culmination that I had to be here. Just talking about me and this body, Oshika, I am roughly 35 years old and I come from a very traumatic past. Um, So, a lot of times, our trauma or that deep, dark state that we live in is actually just a portal for a lot of pure liquid gold of transformation that can come through it, right? So yeah, 10 years ago, when I was in that traumatic phase of my life, I was thriving, I would say. uh However, when I met my husband a decade ago, when my life started softening a bit, all of that depression, trauma, anxiety started bubbling up. And then I realized that I had PCOD, I had oversized left ovary, I had recurring UTI, and I also had something called as vaginal warts. So I had like skin type of growth on my vaginal wall. So I had all of this, and somehow I was always very aware of how my blood work is because I always wanted to become a mother. I was doing everything right, Michelle. I was going to the doctors. I was doing everything that they were saying. I was even doing yoga, meditation, certain kind of relaxation, but nothing was actually shifting anything. I was still in the same state. But the only moment when I realized that, okay, a lot of trauma is still sitting in my body, it is getting
Mhm.
triggered by incidents with my husband or my friends or at my work, that I realized that, okay, my body is this temple and everything is interconnected. It's not that, I can take this in isolation and heal. Only when I started healing my emotions, the pain that I was carrying, that I was suppressing, thinking that it's over, um, is when I started seeing change in my body, in my health, in my being. So it was like a long work of 6 to 7 years. However,
Wow.
in 2022 was I was on this spiritual acceleration. I was always a very spiritual person. I did my first Vipassana, which is a 11-day silent meditation, when I was 17 years old. So my mother
Wow.
thought that I might become a monk or something and I won't marry, which is
And this
like
was
a
by your choosing? You chose to do that?
yes, because there was always this question that where do I come from? Where is home? There was this craving in the heart,
I know exactly what you mean. And this is why we immediately had this recognition because I
yeah,
understand.
yeah. So when I went for my Vipassana, my mother went through a terrible nightmare thinking that, okay, my daughter will become something else. But yeah, so the journey has been long. But in 2022, by this divine guidance of the spirit of my baby, I went on this spiritual accelerated path where for good 3 4 months I detoxed my physical body like anything, as if like I was scrubbing like my entire
How?
vessel.
How?
How? Good question. So I for complete 1 month I ate only vegetables and fruits. And when I say vegetables and fruits, I did not even eat any salt or any spices which my Indian tongue kept asking for.
Yeah.
I did couple of juice fasts along the way. Um, and then I detoxed my entire environment. I started learning that all my fancy perfumes had toxic chemicals, the skincare. When you start the journey and then you come to realize that, oh my God, everything around me is designed somehow to cause infertility.
Mhm.
So nothing that whatever I'm investing in is supporting my fertility, not at all. So that
Yeah.
was like a big shocker to me. And then I started detoxing my skincare, detergent, everything. You know how it goes, right? So I detoxed my physical environment, my body, my external environment, and I even cut out toxic relationship, friends, who were not aligned. So this is how I detoxed that part of it. And then obviously, because I was on this healing journey of releasing any kind of pain and trauma, deep meditation for hours, creating awareness, creating routines, treating my morning and my evening as sacred, and calling in everything to be the woman who was ready to become a mother. So it was not just one particular thing that I did, but it was like a whole cohesive journey of aligning my
Mhm.
physical body, my mental body, and my spiritual body, and understanding that I had to heal whatever knots I had with my husband as well, right?
Mhm.
That we both were sure about the values that we want to embody and we want to give it to our child. So yeah, whenever I think about it, I feel it was not me who did it. It
Yeah.
couldn't be me. It was all guided by the spirit of the baby, because the baby nudges you, it pushes you if you have that intuition and if you are ready to listen to it, and if you are ready to accept all the issues you have without having this blame game, and just
Mhm.
having this awareness that it is okay to do mistakes. I also had an abortion when I was 21 years old.
Oh.
um so releasing all of the shame, pain, guilt, yeah, so a lot of inner work, a lot of inner
Yeah,
work. Yeah,
I
yeah,
see I see a lot of it. I mean, a lot of
yeah.
what you're talking about in general.
Yes,
And I
yes.
know that, one thing that struck me when you were talking, it was that you felt that a realization that you were carrying the trauma, that it was still in your body, and that certain triggers from the outside, whether it was relationships or something, would bring it out. And you would think, and it's so interesting how we think that it's that, what we're looking at, that's causing it. We don't realize that it's actually something within us that is dormant and wakes up. Yeah, that might be the trigger, but the nature or whatever is in there is in our bodies. If we weren't carrying in our bodies, it wouldn't be triggered.
Yes, because everything around us is just an internal reflection of our own reality, right? And especially partnership. The ancient wisdom of India, it says that you choose your partner subconsciously, someone who will again trigger those
Mhm.
childhood wounds. And it is
Yeah.
not like you have to fight with them. It's
Right.
just this deeper awareness that, okay, this person, firstly, my soul chose this person, right? And this
Mhm.
person can just accelerate my path if I give into whatever they are scratching on the surface. So I
Mhm.
can heal, I can massage my wound and grow from it. So yeah, it's just beautiful, but that comes from accepting that nothing is working against you. It's
Yes, it's
you
all
are
working
the
for you. It's
yeah.
actually working for you.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%.
I think
Yes.
it takes a little time to get there. I don't think that everybody gets there, but I really loved what you were saying. It really struck me. And I find that that perspective is so empowering. When you said, these things that happen to us in life that they scrub, and it's like this portal of illumination. I'm not sure exactly what words you used, but I feel like it's kind of like the obstacle is the way, that it's there actually to guide us, not hurt us. Our immediate reaction, and I've studied the Vedas, and I mean, I'm not like a
Um,
scholar, but I love it. I've always been drawn to Vedic traditions. I studied Ayurveda. I just, there's so much wisdom, even the sounds, even the mantras, even the vibration. There's something so majestic and magical about the traditions, and it's so rich with wisdom, insane wisdom. So it's something that I've always been really drawn to. And the idea of really, like, everything, one of the things that they say is that everything in life is neutral. We give it meaning. We choose to give it, we talked in the pre-talk, you were saying my ego self and then kind of like the divine self. We give it meaning and judgment, but it's usually pretty neutral. So it's kind of getting to that state of the neutral, to me, is kind of the yin and yang and harmony, that balance state where you're able to see things a little more clearly, and then you're able to be guided by that spirit. Yeah. Yes. 100%. Yeah. Yes. They're beautiful too. Yeah, they're stunning. Mm. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. 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 Yeah, for sure. And I always say the present moment is the antidote, because all of those patterns, they live in the subconscious mind. They live without awareness. They thrive without awareness. They're actually expecting us not to be aware in order to stay alive. And as soon as we bring our awareness, it's kind of like the police, like we're
Yes.
we're able to catch it.
Yes.
And I think that that's kind of like the freedom. I had a bunch of thoughts, they come and go.
Mm.
But it's really, it's about becoming, the more aware you become, the more that becomes your default. And
Mm.
then it becomes easier. So you don't have to remind yourself all the time. Sometimes I find myself when I'm in those moments where, whether I'm driving or I'm like really on like high alert, then I automatically know how to go into my body. It's a interoception. You start to feel sensations in your body and you breathe into it, and you start to bring yourself back
Mm.
to your body.
That's right.
And that, and so, oh, I was going to talk to you about, actually, when you were talking about the generations and the ancestors,
Mm.
I probably am one of the first, I guess, generation that really took on a meditation practice for many, many years. I think that the meditation practice and the awareness practice and also reading books and getting really influenced by people like Eckhart Tolle.
Mhm.
I think it's shifted and changed to kind of the neuroplasticity of my brain. But my point is that in so doing, I feel like in some weird way, it's healed my mom. So I don't know. It's kind of goes to that energetic of, because she's alive and my grandmother has since passed, but we don't know if we're also healing them. Like, we could be healing their energies, their spirits, by healing ourselves.
um I just feel called to share, so I'll share. So in 2022, I went for my ayahuasca journey. I knew about ayahuasca since a very long time, but I somehow felt that, oh, this was not for me. But I told you about those phases when I was meditating for three hours, and then something whispered in my ear, and I just Googled and I found like a shaman traveling to Ireland, and I went for my ceremony. And in my ceremony, I saw me, my mother, and my daughter one. And by the time I wasn't pregnant or anything, and I felt movement in my womb, and it felt a lot of clearing and healing. A few years ago, I did my past life regression, and I saw that my mother was my daughter. And now, when I sit with my own daughter, and she's this wise woman for a 2.5-year old. So she is definitely not my daughter. She is some ancestor coming back to me. So how do we know, even with so much in the unseen and so much in the spiritual realm? We have become said modern, and we have forgotten that what the ancestors were talking about was in
Yeah,
fact
we
spiritual
forgot.
science,
Yeah.
right? So is your mother your mother? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good
Why?
question.
I
Yeah.
don't know. But are you healing your generations in this current moment? I would say so. I would say so, because they are alive in your body. There are these
Mhm.
surges, or there are certain dreams that I have right now. And I for sure know these are not my dreams. I know that this is some ancestor who wants me to do this. And the life that I'm living right now, this is not my dream life. I never imagined myself talking about conscious conception, helping women heal their traumas and aligning their body, all of this. No, I was happy in my tech job, earning money and just enjoying going to work and being
Yeah.
myself. So who am I? I don't know. But am I carrying my ancestors in my blood and body? For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Are
It's,
they living through me? Yes. Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, no, as soon as
Yeah.
you said that, I was thinking about the Maharishi effect. You've
Mm.
studied about this, right? There's a research, there's actually a research paper on this. Maharishi was an incredible guru who brought meditation to the West, right? I mean, he was like one of the first that, I believe that the Beatles went to see
Mm.
him, and so
Mm.
he was really like the guru that got the attention of the West. And so he brought a lot of the wisdom of the Veda traditions to the West. And he had predicted this before they even did the study. He brought in transcendental meditation, and he
Mm.
predicted, if you gather many people together in a group and have them all meditate at the same exact time, you will create peace in the world. So, and I'm going to mention this to you for you to perhaps think about, unless you already thought about this. So he, later on, they did a study, and they actually saw, they measured all of the terrorist attacks, all of the crime, like all of these different things that were happening around this area, where I believe it was 1,400 people they brought together to
Mm.
meditate together, to do transcendental meditation.
Okay.
And they measured and saw a significant decrease in crime, a
100%.
decrease in terrorism, all kinds of things that were happening. And so when you're talking about how you shifting your consciousness can actually impact other consciousness. We're talking about collective. We're talking about massive scale of consciousness shifting and changing. And so whatever you're doing really with your own consciousness can literally shift the consciousness of the world. So then I've thought about this with my group, the fertility effect, and we've done group meditations on really bringing in the fertility and conception and the healing on that aspect, kind of like channeling it a little bit more in that direction. But I think it's just, there's something really special about that, coming together as a collective.
100%. So, just for your listeners, I would love to tap into what you just said, how it happens, right? A lot of people think, oh, what are they even talking about? You see, we all are electromagnetic beings. There are machines which can capture your aura, they can measure your frequency. So, if you go to a party and if you see your good friend, even from 10-20 feet of distance, you can feel their love. You are excited to go meet them. And if somebody is jealous of you or is sending you negativity, you can feel it. And if you're unable to feel it,
Sure.
please do some work, okay?
Yeah.
Because there
Sure.
is this intuitive intelligence in your body which can sense that frequency, right? So if you are in happy, relaxed, calm state, you are vibrating at a higher frequency. If you are stressed, you have chronic pain or whatever, you are vibrating at a low frequency. But when you meditate, when you open your healing centers, when you activate your chakras, when you relax, slowly, you are elevating your own frequency and vibrating at a higher plane. And again, this is no good or bad. We are not judging. We are just talking about how it works. And now, if I am sitting in a group,
it's more coherent.
and it is easier then to actually elevate your state as well. And from the point of conception, if you and your partner, you meditate in the zero trimester, which Ayurveda and all of these ancient texts deeply focus on, that rather than just jumping that, oh, I'm ovulating, let's have sex to create a child, why not you give a 90-day to whatever time you have, a minimum of 3 months for sure, and then you meditate, you release your stress, you keep on, increasing your vibration so that your body becomes this actually high vibrating temple where a divine soul can come and take home in your womb. So, this is the concept of conscious conception where I release all of my trauma, pain, anxiety, grief, whatever hardship, breakup, stress that I'm carrying. I release it by certain practices and then I uplift my energy. And that's the kind of baby that I will call in because I'm actually switching my genes. And now,
Yes,
obviously,
correct.
epigenetics is talking about this, that how you can reprogram your genes, right? And your genes are being impacted by your thoughts, your food, your lifestyle, the content you are watching, and this bloody phone that you're obsessed with. Throw it out if you are on your fertility path. So, all of this is actually affecting. It is mind blowing. And
It is.
yes, for you and me, it is easy to understand. For us, it is basic, that we talk about it. But I think there is this collective which is slowly understanding, and it is not for everyone because it's not that we are gatekeeping, but it is your own karmic path, Michelle, that brings you here.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's a big, but I feel like we all can relate because when you were talking about the high frequency and you were saying that the low frequency isn't necessarily bad, I've kind of figured out a way to describe it that keeps it neutral. Anything in nature can be coherent or it can be chaotic. In physics, they say entropy and then they kind of talk about the coherence. And so anything chaotic is going to be low vibration because nature is always going to want the thriving ones to survive. And it's always going to be picking the more thriving branch and trees. And you even see fruits when they start to mold, that'll spread, into those areas, and the mold by itself self-destructs. So anything that's incoherent is going to self-destruct. It's going to take down the level of vitality. Why? Because nature always wants the vitality aspect of all of nature to win, because that's how nature continues. And it's just selective. That's just the way it is. And it's a very neutral way. So you're going to have the same thing with people. You're going to have people that vibrate on a very coherent level. And then you're going to have people that vibrate incoherent. Maybe they'll do things that are a little more destructive because they're vibrating on an incoherent state, and they're not seeing their own benefit to benefit themselves. They're looking at other people to get energy. It is what it is, kind of like not good or bad. It is what it is. But ultimately, that coherence is always going to want to, nature is always going to favor that coherence. Oh, yes. My point is that when you do increase your coherence and your vibration, just like you said, you're going to start to be boring to the people that are incoherent. So they're not going to even want to be around you. So that protects you in a sense.
Yeah, and obviously, when you raise your vibration, anything and everything which is not aligned, the nature will start cutting it off from your environment, and
Yeah,
you yourself will not enjoy the company of people who are not at the same vibration. Again, there's no good and bad, it
sure.
just picks the same tune, like you radio frequency, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So all the listeners who enjoy a certain kind of music will be at a say particular radio station. So it's just
Right.
that.
Correct. Yeah.
But at the same time, when it comes to pregnancy, um, you can literally design your child.
Mm.
We start focusing on the supplements and the tracking and the ovulation and the entire industry. My ancestors must be laughing that we talk about fertility as an industry, but it is an industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is thriving on your fear. It is thriving on the tick tock of the clock. It is
Mm-hmm.
thriving on your lack of confidence in your own body, right? So they don't thrive on someone who's confident and will say that, hey, listen, I know that my body is was born with fertility juices and it will
Mm-hmm.
produce a baby, right? um but
I
yeah,
love that you're saying this.
this is what happens, because the ones who are confident, right, they know they will go. Because my doctor also said to me that, hey, your sizes are not changing, this is not working, no worries, if nothing works out we will go for IVF. And they say it so casually.
Yes.
And because there is a power dynamics when you step into that room, because you think that they are gods and they know everything and you are this victim who doesn't know what to do, in that same moment you are getting programmed by them.
Mm.
Your subconscious is getting affected in that room because they are presenting you with an option. Again, there's no hate towards IVF.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
has
No
blessed
judgment.
people.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. But you need to understand that your body needs to support it. It is not a
Correct.
magic wand that, oh,
For
they,
some people, IVF is a miracle, but
yes,
it's not for
100%.
everybody. And so 100%, I think that, and I get that that's what you're saying. It's not that it's bad. It's just that you have to go in alignment, right? It has to be aligned. If it's aligned for you, it's perfect. But if it's coming from a place of fear, different story.
100%. And if there was a guarantee that, okay, in this cycle I get pregnant, then for sure. And right now your body is not ready, you have not done anything. If you are preparing your body and then going for IVF, A plus B, then for sure it will equal to be C, or whatever
Mm-hmm.
you are trying to design. But if your body and you are in chronic stress, your body is inflamed, there is so much issue, there's so much of stress and fear and whatnot, and then you add IVF on it, you and me, we know what the result would be. Your body has to be, ready to do the
Yes.
work,
Yes.
right? There's no pressure on it. It is divine alignment. We are talking about a soul coming on this planet. It is more sacred than we can ever think or anything on this planet, right? So if you have this calling, or you know that you are a spiritual being, that there's a spirit in your physical body, then yeah, just think about it, right?
Yeah, it's
Just from
amazing.
just I want to finish this thought that just from a tiny egg and sperm, your body is creating an entire being. It is so intelligent. So if you give it the healing protocol, if you allow it to thrive, it will do the job. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to say that I have seen people's body shut down from
Mm.
IVF,
No,
and they'll
it's
start out yielding some, and then
mm,
they go back to back to back, and their bodies literally shut down. And
it's-
then they take a little break and it kind of comes back, but it's like the body's saying no. The body's like putting a stop. And it's crazy to actually witness, but you're like, whoa, the body doesn't want this right now.
it is sad. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have nothing to add to it, because I deeply know that if you start listening to the body, it is telling you, right? And your nervous system, as you know, you talk about the polyvagal theory, and we all talk about the same thing, that your reproductive system is not different from your nervous system. Your nervous system is controlling your reproductive system, right? So yeah, just it's basics.
It is. It's
Yeah.
so intuitive if you really think about it.
Yes.
And you were
Yes.
saying in the beginning, you were saying how if you really become intuitive or you get into your intuition, you will get moved and called and guided by the spirit baby. I really thought that was very profound because I see that with my patients. I see that with people I work with. I see it. I see that when they ask for the guidance, they get very distinct signs. And
Yeah.
typically, um, it'll be so obvious that regardless of the outcome and the months of period, and they keep telling me, but the signs are so real. I know it's real. They start to really invite it in, and then they get pregnant. It happens in its divine timing, and sometimes so divine that it even comes on the numbers of the signs that they get, the date.
Mhm. Yeah, it is magical, right? It is just beautiful. It is just beautiful. And our grandmothers, our ancestors, they knew all of it. And actually, our ancestors used to prepare consciously for pregnancy. And when I say ancestors, I don't mean the past 100, 200 years. Uh, Garbh Upanishad, which is this ancient text from India, it talks clearly about how men and women, they used to prepare for conception. They used to heal their bodies. They used to be that embodied state and call in the divine child, right? See, when you start living in coherence, that you were saying, when there
Mhm.
is this brain and heart coherence, a lot of times what I have realized, that me and my husband, say for example, we become stressed because we are doing, constantly doing around the house, around the baby, around our life. And if there's slight amount of stress, but if I just sit in meditation and I'm just healing this heart space, and I'm just sending him also a little bit of my love through my energy, I will see a shift in him as well.
Yes.
It is all your own inner state, your own faith, how much you believe in what you are capable of. Right? I know so many women who are 40 years old, 45 years old, and they get pregnant easily because nobody was able to shake their belief system. They are
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
confident. So it just mirrors whatever you believe in, and you can shift your beliefs, you can shift your thought patterns. So rather than, if I have to believe in something, I rather believe that I will get pregnant rather than, oh, I cannot get pregnant. Because I myself was in that state, Michelle, for some time, where because the doctors were saying certain things, one day I came to my husband and I was like, oh, this is not changing. And then he said something to me. He's like, don't stress about it, we will adopt. And I looked at him and I said that this body will produce a baby. I will stop listening to anyone
You had
else.
certainty.
Yeah, because why should I listen to someone who doesn't know me, doesn't know where I come from, doesn't know my value system? I remember here in
Mhm.
Ireland, I went to my GP and I was telling them that I'm planning a home birth, and then they looked at me and they thought that I was crazy, and then they said they had an elective C-section. That moment itself, I was so happy because this person doesn't have the same understanding as me. They chose elective C-section, so it means that our value systems are very, very different.
Mhm.
So that itself is like a clear distinction that sure, I respect whatever you're saying, but because you are a different, you have not experienced life like me. So just listen to what your body is saying, because a lot of these women who are going into those clinics, they know that they don't want this path,
Mhm.
but somehow they don't know better.
Yes, it's true. How can people, like, if somebody really wants to, based on what you're saying, they really want to connect with her wisdom. And I know that it could be very hard because, like, when you go through times where you feel so disconnected from yourself, you want to come back to yourself, but you feel so disconnected because it's almost like there's a charge. When Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, there's a charge that happens. There's a charge with fear, and there's a charge with doubt. Those things can really suck us in. And sometimes it's very difficult to kind of come back to ourselves, and they feel, when people say the word like I feel lost, it's really true. It's a very good way to describe that feeling. I mean, I've been there in different times of my life. I know what that feels like, to feel very lost. And then I know also what you were saying when you have like moments with your husband and then you need to kind of come back to yourself. For me personally, I get into my body. I feel the sensations. It kind of anchor, like I find an anchor, sometimes a breath or some kind of anchor. So what would you say to somebody who says like, how do I get back to myself? How do I get back into my intuition? And how can I start to listen to my body or hear my body's communication?
It's beautiful question. And here I would just step into my coach. I'll wear my coach hat and I'll just say that a lot of times I was in this deep dark phase that I couldn't even see an ounce of light. I would say work with someone who has been where you are. Because you see, Michelle, we as women, we never lived in so much of isolation that we do today. Even
Yeah,
your eggs live in
it's true.
community. Even
Yes,
your eggs live in
that's
community,
true.
right?
Yeah.
And we need to be witnessed in our
Mhm.
pain. We need to be witnessed in our suffering. So many times I have
Yeah, that's
clients who
true.
will be like, oh, whatever you said is not new to me, but because you said it, I'm accepting it.
That's true.
We need
It's
mirrors.
like permission. Yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yes. And a lot of times we need to be in a system where we can be accountable for our actions, accountable for our healing. Every now and then, even I go to retreats, circles, containers where I will step out as a new version. Either I have this
True.
strong transformative determination in my own self,
Mhm.
right? What you and me now we are talking about, because we have worked on it for ages, for years,
Mhm.
and that's how you can come back to your breath, right?
Yes,
But were
it's
you
true.
able to come back to your breath five,
No,
ten
at the
years?
time, no, I was so stuck on whatever it was that I was focusing on.
And when I am going to a doctor or a healer or whatever medicine, when I get some kind of physical wound, then when
Mhm.
I'm emotionally suffering, then why don't I need help? I need help.
Right.
And that help or change happens when the community that you're talking about comes and breathes together, meditates together, releases together, creates this
Yes.
awareness that these are my triggers. But it is fine because there are five other women who are carrying the same trigger, they are carrying the same pain. And if this woman can work through her pain, can work through her trauma, and is doing what daily inner work is needed, then I can
Mhm.
also do the same. So
Yeah.
this is the power of collective healing. And if you are stuck or lost, sister, you need to find your own tribe who can
Mhm.
support you and push you out of this, so that you can go into this propelled container of healing and coming out of it.
Mhm.
Is at
Beautiful.
least what I do, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my body needs, a sister to hug me, to listen to me, or just be present with me, if
Mhm.
not anything. And I have this beautiful relationship with my partner. He is this amazing man. But men and women are different.
Yes,
They
very
don't have the same emotional capacity or
true.
capability. That's why
Mhm.
you have a womb,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Your energy
Yeah.
center.
Yes.
Uh, so, yes, our partners are amazing and we are in this divine union with them. But at the same time, a woman needs another woman,
This
is
is
what
so
I
true.
say.
It really is true.
Um,
Let's
yes.
talk about actually I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but the second chakra, the creative center,
The womb.
it's the womb. It's the creative center, but it's also, it embodies a spiritual personality as well. It's not just an area where it has life. It's not just that by itself. It also has an energetic frequency of its own that is connected to its own vibration, and it's connected to creativity. And in order to be creative, you can't be critical, because I know for myself, of course, I studied art and I've done art. If I have my mind being too analytical and judging my work, then I can't be free to create. And then I think to myself, what happens when we're on the fertility journey? We go straight into the lab numbers, we get analytical. And so, how can that impact, the energetics of creativity physically? What are your thoughts on that?
Your sacral, your swadhisthana chakra, right? And all the chakra points are along your spine. Obviously, when we show it, we show the front part of the body, but the sacral is around your pelvis, your womb, right? Your
Mhm,
womb waters. So basically, your sacral chakra is a representation of your emotions, and emotions are connected to the water, and hence,
mhm,
your baby is also in your emotional waters, your womb
mhm.
waters. Um, and that means fluidity, movement, dance, expression, the
Ooh, I love
painting
that.
behind you, right? And it all comes from this energetic seat, which is the power of creation, mother, Shakti,
Mm,
embodiment of your feminine power. It is a portal of creation. So even if you are birthing a business, you are birthing a relationship, you're birthing something creative, a painting, a dance school, a child, you have to be in this coherent state with your womb, with your sacral, the six petaled lotus. And six is the energy of the Venus, the feminine planet, right? It sits right in your womb center. And because if you look at the biological diagram of your jaw and your pelvis, it is just mirror image of each other. So women who shut down their voice, their truth, their grief, it is i- just impacting your womb. And because you were alive in your grandmother's womb, you are carrying all of that creativity from them, right? And the part of that analytical part that you were talking about, that's our masculine side, right? Which is needed. A divine being or the balanced human is someone who can have their masculine and feminine balanced. I would like to add something here. My very dear, beautiful relative gave me her leftover ovulation sticks, and I wasn't preparing and I had it in my cupboard. Never did I use any ovulation stick. Never. How can I put a ticker time bomb on this process that I'm creating? How can it be rushed? when you are making love, do you put a timer that, oh, I just have 10 minutes and I need to get out
Yeah.
of it? Right?
Yeah.
It is a
Yeah. No,
process.
100%.
You are enjoying, you are creating, you are moving, you are in rhythm, you are in your feminine self. So get up every day, dress like a goddess, dress like this divine being that you are, move your body, develop a relationship with your bleed. Understand that it is magical, potent substance full of stem cells. It took patriarchy to shame our body, to shame our blood. And every cycle you become this divine being who is not just releasing this potent blood out of you, but you can release anything while you are bleeding.
Hmm.
So it is a remembrance coming back to the womb space, healing the womb space, and just aligning the sacral, the swadhisthana. Um, it just brings me so much of joy talking about this,
I
Michelle.
love it. I
Uh,
love listening
uh,
to you.
yeah. Um, and the goddess lives there. Every woman
Hmm.
has the put is a, a dormant goddess, and it is
Hmm.
within you how to activate her in you. Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that so
me.
much.
Yes.
I knew that you were going to have a good answer. That's why I intuitively felt called to ask you. I
Um,
definitely feel like you are so connected, and I think that you work alongside the divine, the feminine. She's working through you, with you, beside you. I feel it.
I am nobody. I have just surrendered the life to the mission. Um, and there's so much of suffering already, right? We are given birth pills from the time we are turning 16, and
Hmm.
then there is so much happening which is just pushing our fertility juices, and people think that fertility is pregnancy. No, fertility is rejuvenation of this energy which is in your body, which is capable of ensuring that the entire cosmos can run with your power. I have this guru, and whenever I go to him with any question, he's a elder man, and then he bows down and he says that, I'm afraid of women because women have so much potential and power.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
there will be a day when millions of us walk again, because there was a time on the planet where matriarchy was the way of life. It will come back. It is coming back. It is rising.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Um,
It
yeah,
needs
yeah,
to.
yeah,
It's very healing. And I think that that was, if you ask me, and I don't know that I've ever really said this here on the
yeah.
podcast, I believe that one of the reasons why energetically we're seeing so many challenges with fertility is because we're really in a very strong yang, dominant energetics. And it's sometimes we need to go back into the receptive, which is the female. And we are going there. We're getting there. I think we're awakening to that. I really believe it.
Yeah, and just certain trust and surrender has to come back, right? We I always wanted to become my mother's son, because in India, it still now is that you need to have a son. I am the eldest daughter, and I always wanted to become my mother's son. I was competing with boys at school, and doing cool things. I was riding a bike. I was solo traveling. And there are dreams and desires that, oh, especially as an Indian, that you should have a certain kind of a job. So I was doing every one of those things, only to one day realize that this current state that we are living in is designed by men for men. you know I am not that 9 to 5, 24-hour person,
Correct. We're
right?
the moon, the 30-day.
Yeah, they are the sun, we are the moon. That's why we have the womb, the emotional center that you're talking about. So slowly and steadily it will rise. for sure. But when it comes to pregnancy, we need to know that we have the power to heal this incoherent state, whether it is any kind of imbalance in the womb, um, any chronic stress, inflammation. Your body has the capability to heal all of this and come into your feminine receptive state and then conceive whatever you're trying to conceive. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And this is just probably one of my favorite episodes, I have to say. I really enjoy this conversation because I also feel like you see similar things that I see. We're connecting to, I think, maybe an acknowledgement of the divine, that there is some other energy that is feeding really all things. And I recognize in you that you see what I see when it comes to that divine, and kind of really that allowing that divine to really pull our work and to speak through us and to guide us and to inspire us. And I know that people are probably blown away by your energy right now. If people want to find you, work with you, what offerings do you have and how can they find you?
They will find me when they are guided to find me. I always tell all of my clients that, it is again some kind of karmic bond, karmic contract that people come to you, Michelle, or they work with me, because we are actually
Mm-hmm.
talking about healing so much of pain and then calling your baby. It is sacred, it is divine, it
Mm-hmm.
is a blessing. So, coming back to your question, I'm sure we will share the Instagram handle somewhere, so you can just find me
Yes, I'll
via
put
my
everything in the episode
Instagram.
notes.
Yeah, I do group containers where we work for 6 week. We work aligning your physical body, detoxing it, providing it the right fertility nutrition according to Ayurveda, and then working through inner childhood healing, conscious connected breath work, journaling, rewiring. It's
Love
like a
it.
whole system that I
Yes.
have created, and I've been working since past 4 years on this. Um, at the same time, I do collective in-person breathwork sessions where we call in the ancestral energy and do a lot of healing, whatever the divine allows. So yeah, I'm just creating as the mother is guiding, and I'm just enjoying this process. To be very, very honest, um, yeah, I do one-on-one work and I do group cohorts, depending upon wherever the client is in their journey. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Right.
Oshika, this is definitely a very divine connection. I felt an energy when we were speaking, and I typically do feel like that with a certain vibration, I guess, frequency, mental state, consciousness. I don't even know what word. There's really no words to describe it. Like, it's hard to describe it. I am on a talk platform, but it's kind of hard to put it into words.
That's me, you know.
So, but I feel like people do feel that vibration. Yes, they can hear you talk,
That's
but I think that they
yeah.
can also connect with where you're taking them. And I feel like there's this profound depth in how you describe fertility and how you describe consciousness and really conscious fertility, and bringing in an element of sacredness into that conception, which I think is just really, I feel like people are thirsting for. So I think this conversation, I should even have you come back another time because I feel like we can keep
Yeah.
talking and talking.
We
But thank you so much, really, thank you so much for coming on today. It was such a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you. It was a blessing. Thank you.